01. My first one. Um, why do a podcast? I decided to do a podcast just based off the fact that I think they're dope. Think they're entertaining, informative, and things like that. So I just like listening to them. So I decided to not just be a listener, to be a doer now. I thought it was a good way to have a conversation with people and a good way to teach, a good way to get out your message. Um, there's things that I can't do through music, but I can do it through speaking. So it's just another form of my ministry. So I think speaking of ministry. Okay, so the title of my podcast is Hope Medicine. Hope Medicine came from Mark 2:17, which reads, when Jesus heard this, he told them, it is not those who are well who need a doctor, but those who are sick. I didn't come to call the righteous, but sinners. So, that was what God put on my heart. And he gave me the movement, which is Hope Medicine, bringing hope, healing the world. Because I was one of those who were sick. I was one of those who needed healing in multiple areas, a ton of areas. And Jesus did it. And who would I be to not help other people after I got help? That's like real selfish. And that's just not how I live. So I decided to help others through music, through speaking, and this is a way of me speaking. So, yeah. So that's how Hope Medicine started. So I'm not gonna be giving y'all, necessarily reading from the word, but we will be talking about things that are pertaining to the word. Of course, you can't do anything without the word of God, especially if you're trying to truly help, So, like I said, what will the podcast consist of? The podcast will consist of God, it will consist of testimonies, it will consist of talks, problems, issues, and things that we're seeing that we can just have a conversation about. So I'm having interviews, interviewing people, and different things like that. And I think it's gonna be real dope. So I would love for y'all to tap in and just listen. I think that'd be real cool. So now, how do you want to start a podcast? That was the question. How do I want to start it? And this is how I was led to start. I was led to start with my testimony. And there's people that know me, and there's people that don't know me. But I'm take you all the way back. So I'm 24 right now. I'm married to my beautiful wife, Alicia Rowe. And I wasn't always on this path at all. I had one of those Paul moments, when Saul became Paul, where he basically realized that his life had a better purpose. So I grew up in Detroit, 6 Mile, and it was a little quiet neighborhood growing up. At first, so big. There was a lot of older people around our house and stuff, around our neighborhood, so we didn't run into any drama or anything like that. Hobbies was basketball, bike riding, playing outside, anything sports wise, we was doing it. I had an older brother, my older brother, shout out to Quan, and my sister, Brianna Rowe, my twin sister, and we grew up single parent household. Mom's was the goat for real. Mom's did everything that she needed to do to provide. So most of the time we didn't recognize the struggle. We didn't recognize what she had to go through, and we didn't even recognize that. A lot of times you don't recognize you're in a struggle until you go out of it and like see different things that people have, or and then you're like, oh, maybe we, or you grow up and then you realize it wasn't that easy. But the trouble started once I got around, I want to say 13, break-ins. We had a ton of break-ins. When you have nice stuff and other people want what you have, they tend to try to, take it. So we had multiple break-ins, and it got a little crazy. I remember, I would say the two strongest break-ins was one that was after I think it was New Year's Eve. And you know how you go out and things like that, you go to your friend's house, and then so we came back and all our stuff was like ransacked and everything was taken, and it was just disappointing. You know how you get all your Christmas stuff and you like, oh yeah, and then all of it's gone, so at that point, I could see like the hurt and the pain that was in my mom's eyes and things like that, and just the hurt that I felt and my brothers and sisters felt. And my mom said she was going to replace everything, but it just didn't feel the same. So that's probably like the fifth time that we got broken into. Yeah. And then the last time, which was the last straw, was it was early in the morning, and I heard ringing on the doorbell. So it was a lot of ringing, So I came downstairs the last time, and I'm like, looked outside, didn't see anybody. So I went back upstairs to go to sleep. So I get back in the bed, and the only person there is my brother and me. And I'm like, at that age, I'm probably 13 or something like that. So that's when pans and stuff started dropping, and I just heard somebody saying a name, and I'm trying to listen to the voice, like, who is this, who's in my house, and I'm not necessarily knowing that it's somebody breaking in, but I'm just like, all right, what's going on? So after I realized there's somebody in the house and I can't pick up on their voice, I run across the hall to wake up my brother, and my brother said, I tell him calmly, like, there's somebody in our house, and my brother's dead asleep, and he just wakes up, and he's like, what? So he hears it, and then, so the only thing in the room was, I grabbed a pool stick, and my brother grabbed a golf club. So we, in a sense, getting ready in case we gotta protect ourselves and things like that. And protect our house and things like that. So I look down, like we in a banister, so I mean upstairs and the downstairs. So I look down, and me and a person look eye to eye at each other, and he begins coming up the stairs. So my brother like, let me beat him. I'm about to beat it, So that's when I'm like, hey, bro, like, I see the dude as he's coming up the stairs, he has a gun in his hand. So I close the door, and my brother, like, let me at him. I'm like, bro, he got a gun. So that's when my brother's changed, like, from the, I'm about to go beat you, to the, oh, okay, hold on, we gotta think. So he started banging on the wall with the golf club, yelling, get the out, beep, and the person ended up running out the house. So then, we called the police, called my mom, called the police. Of course, the police in the hood, growing up, police never come They ask you dumb questions, or when they come, it's hours late. If something don't happen and it has already happened, I hope it got better, but it probably didn't. But yeah. So you call the police, and they're like, "Is he still there? Is the person still there?" Like me, like, bruh, So now I call my mom, and my mom gets home and she's crying. Are you okay? Are you? And I could see the pain that was in her eyes. And at that point, she was like, "It's time to go." And we were gone in like a month. Um, it like my mom was we were packing up that day. Like it was that bad. Then we moved to Southfield, which was a whole different environment. But it was way more peaceful. Just the fact of not having to watch your back, you know. Of course, you still don't let your guard down completely because you come from around that way, so you still don't. It's based off what you have experienced. So I'm still, somewhat guarded, and it was different. Began getting comfortable and getting friends, and the friends out there were different than the friends that were in the hood. Like, so they were predominantly black. I didn't know many white people when I were in Detroit. I didn't have any, necessary conversations with them that I remember or anything like that. But when I moved out to Southfield, it was just different. And I was just trying to adapt to the lifestyle there. They have skateboarding, have skateboarding friends, jumping off houses, doing all type of tricks and stuff like that. And it was less of the drama. We still played basketball and things like that. That's what kind of allowed for me to let my guard down, because I'm like, oh, y'all hoop too? Oh, bet we gonna hoop, So that was something that I liked. So into that, at this time, my brother's he's in his 12th grade year, and we're going into 9th grade. So we're in 8th grade, finishing 8th grade, and he's finishing 12th grade. So in a sense, for about 17, 18 years, he has been raised just in the hood environment. And so that was what was normal to him. And as for me, I was trying to, in a sense, I feel like we got took out at the right time, because if we didn't, that hood mentality would have overpowered me, Even though it was still there, it would have just took complete control of me, which didn't happen, luckily. So like I said, it's two different paths. So like we ended up moving again because we were out of the district by one house, which was petty, but we had to move up 1 mile so we could go to Birmingham Groves, which was a very diverse school. I mean, like every single race in there, so, and it's real quiet. I promise you, we had like 2 fights, like in the whole school for real, like out of 4 years. And it was a cool school. I still wasn't yet comfortable with people in my 9th grade year. Like, I still had my guard up. I had, I think, one friend that was like, "Oh, this the homie," And that was my boy Chuck. And so, like I said, and we were friends based off basketball, how that started, basketball, video games, and things like that. And basically began getting comfortable in that setting. And then I would say I came out my shell in about 10th grade. I think what really made me come out my shell, I started feeling myself, and then I got new clothes. Mom's bought us new clothes. the truths, the mix, so I'm like, oh yeah, hold on. And then, I end up getting a girlfriend or something like that. So I'm like, oh yeah, I'm the man, So I just started feeling myself. And like I said, like I wasn't really big on school. Like I was just more so, I was just big on hooping, girls, and I don't. That's pretty much it. Well, I had got into weed like I want to say a year after that, um, or towards the end of my 10th grade year. But before that, it was just um, basketball and girls. So I went through 10th grade, became somewhat popular. I started getting friends, started hanging out, doing whatever. So I began smoking and things like that. Smoking a ton of weed, it was crazy. But I ended up doing that based off, uh, in a sense, seeing my brother and just deeming it cool. Because when you don't necessarily have a dad, then you lean on whoever's close to you. You kind of form to whatever they do. So my brother uh, was my dad. In a sense, that's how I looked at him. So what he deemed cool, I was like, I gotta do that. you know so I began doing that, and just grades began slipping. I would not get like terrible grades, but I wouldn't get like good grades. I get like C's and probably a D or something like that, or something. But I would never like just go completely haywire. I would do just enough to get by, and that was like my motto in high school. Just do just enough, but do everything else good. So I just didn't see value in school for real. I only seen value in sports and different things. So that was my whole that was my whole thing. So like I said, as as I kept on going throughout high school, I was always the funny one. I was always the one that was cracking everybody up. The one that was cool, like the ones that people wanted to hang around with and things like that. So I thought it was dope. And I feel like I always had a good amount of influence. Whether that's, I don't think it was necessarily the best thing to have that much influence, but I did. Like I said, hooping was real big for me. I wanted to hoop, like go big, but it just never was. I would say I was just my confidence. Like my confidence wasn't where it needed to be. Just based off. A lot of times when you're smaller, you get, oh yeah, you too little and you too, and sometimes you believe that. You start to believe it. You get cut for your size and things like that. And so, I was always good outside of the game, just based off the coaches and things like that. It was just the freedom. There's no freedom to really play how I grew up playing and things like that. So that's what kind of took me away from hooping. And then I got injured 12th grade and things like that. So more so with that, I was smoking like way more than um, what I was doing before that. It was a ton. But yeah, so I began indulging in that. And then, like I said, to compensate for pain and things like that, in a sense, I had become numb. I had a ton of girls that I talked to. If I was in a relationship, I was in a relationship, so I would stick with that. But like outside of a relationship, I was probably talking to like 7 or 8 different girls, just, just for fun. You feel me? Just that was just my mindset. So yeah, and then I feel like you kind of overcompensate for things that you don't have, and I feel like whoever was whoever you was talking to made you like feel better about yourself in a sense. You like, hey, I remember showing like, hey, who you talking to? Oh, look who I'm talking to. Look, look at this girl, things like that. So that was kind of a trophy. So in a sense, I feel like I started to adapt. The hood in me started to come out. But with that, I also got exposed to something different too, because that's the hood in me came out, but I was also seeing something different. I was seeing different people that had money, like actual money. Like I remember going to Grant Gilbert's mansion and things like that. And shout out to him. I know he's doing something good, but I remember going to different places and just seeing money, and then it changed my idea of what money was for real. Because I'm just like, yo, look at me. I was the type of person, 3 chains, 4 chains, a watch, like all type of just stuff that, you know, wasn't like cheap stuff for real. That I thought would make me look cooler and things like that. So you know, I was what you call trying to look something that I wasn't. Um, so with that, I started to run into different problems, different issues. I had a ton of issues with my mom. We had just not seeing eye to eye. First of all, I was rebellious in a sense, and I just wanted to do whatever and not listen to the rules, smoke, do hang out, come late. Like I just wanted to do what I wanted to do, and we started butting heads. And then I felt like my mom was kind of controlling, and I just didn't want to be controlled in a sense. So we began butting heads and different things like that. And what got me to this point was I had started. So my story kind of long, and this is what this stuff is for. So that's why I wanted to do a podcast, because my story is very long, and I feel like this is the best way to get it out. I end up not going to college, right? Because I seen my brother go to college and mess up, right? And get kicked out. So I was like, listen, I said, I got the same mindset in a sense as him. And I know if I go to college, I'm not really, if I can't hoop, then I really don't want to go. I didn't like school when I was in high school, so I definitely ain't gonna like college, in the aspect of just school. Like I would like it for other stuff, but yeah. So I decided to work. So my sister got a job at Airtime, right? She applied for it and they called her and stuff like that. And she was like, oh, I got to go off to college. Because my sister was the one that did what she was supposed to do, and I was the one that slacked off. And the reason why I slacked off was because, in a sense, people find it like to be so good to have like a twin and things like that. But that comparison thing is like terrible. Like, because people don't know that they're doing it, but they do it. Like it's not something that they realize affects the other person or something, but it's just something that they do. You gotta think, you dress up a twin, y'all dress up in the same clothes, y'all in the same grade, if y'all pick the same sports, it's always comparison and things like that. So like even with brothers and sisters, they do it, but like when you're like a twin, they do it even more. So in a sense, my sister always overshine what I was doing, so I kind of start just doing whatever. Like I remember having come home with good grades, and then she come home with 4.0, and I'm like, all right, like I'm not trying, you know. So that kind of sent me in that I don't care mindset, which wasn't good. But so my sister get a call from Airtime. She's like, you know what? Can my brother like come work for you guys? And they were like, yeah, just come up here and he'll interview or whatever like that. So I end up getting the job, right? So me not knowing necessarily what it is, trampoline park. I'm just trying to get some money and things like that. So, cause I got like bills and stuff to pay, a car note and things like that. So I get the job and I end up running into like some cool people. You feel me? Like we gonna give names. We got D, my homie D, my homie Chop, my homie Diamond, my homie who else? Greg, my homie Dre, my homie Truth. Like it's a whole list. We got. I'm gonna name it. We got EC, not EC. I mean Eric. That's the other EC. But we got Eric. We got Tone. Like it's a whole list of people. Yeah. So like I can go on and on. Listening names, but shout out to Airtime. It was a blessing in disguise. So I end up forming. We end up forming a group and things like that, like a family in a sense. And like it started off basketball in a sense. Like we all hooped, and that's what really connected us. We hooped and we played video games, and we also end up getting into music. Like they already did music, and it was something that I was like, oh, yeah, I get into it. You know, I try it. And my thing was, if I do something, I'm gonna do it at a high level. Like don't get me wrong, I'm not gonna start off good, but I'm gonna continue to dedicate myself, continue to study, and then eventually I'm gonna continue to get better, and then it's gonna be good. So that was my idea on music. And so like I said, we began forming a bond. Like Airtime was like the spot for real. Like you talking about, and then my homie Truth was the DJ. So like he'd spin whatever, and we turned it into a party for real. Actually, this starting off, this is how I got into music. So Truth was like, he was like, bro, he was talking to me and Chop, and he was like, yeah, y'all should do, I think y'all should come to the studio and record something. You know, he was like, I noticed that y'all energy is like y'all make something small seem big. Like y'all two can go over there and like in a sense demand a crowd and make it feel like something big, you know. So that's what he told us. So we're like, all right, we'll do it, you know. We'll cook up something, like, you know. So we came to the studio and we recorded our first song. The first song I ever did was called Why So Serious. And shout out to everybody, because they used to bump that like crazy. I ended up, you know, taking it down, but we had to talk about that too. But next podcast. But it was just, so at that time we did that, and I'm like, oh, and it turned out to be dope. Like, you know, as a first body of work, and you know, first songs, things like that turned out to be dope. And they used to play it at Airtime, and everybody used to come up to us, and we used to rap it and things like that. So it was a dope thing. But that's what got me into music, like that, just that spark. And my thing was, all I need is a spark or a push, or like not even like somebody has to push me, but just give me that, oh, I think you should, and then I would kind of jump on it if I want to. So yeah, so we end up developing a bond, the whole family, a bond. And somebody who I leaned on a lot, was D, because I would go through issues with my mom, because at that time I was still smoking. I was still, I think I was the wildest at that time. Like it was, it was like, in a sense, I used weed so that, in a sense, I could be sane. Like I thought I couldn't be sane without it. I thought I would be irritated, frustrated, be mad, be ready to fight somebody if I wasn't high. So my normal became high, like just floating. That was my norm. And that's what I was known for. You know, so in a sense, that became somewhat of my identity. And so like a lot of people now, they if they see me, they be like, "You don't do what?" Because it was so prevalent, like it was everywhere. Like people that follow me on Snapchat know that if you follow me, you was gonna see me blowing down. I was blowing down the zip every time you see me. I was going hard. Um, so and I was going hard based off trying to be numb to issues and things like that. So yeah, so like as I got like deeper into like different issues with my mom, different issues with like having absence of a dad and things like that, and just you know it began to take me into different places, darker places, and things like that. And then just things, the way I thought of females, things like that was just wrong. You feel me? Like I would use it as like a feel good method. Like, oh, this will make me feel good and things like that. It wasn't used in the right form. I would talk to girls and really not want to go further with them. I just wanted to hit, or I just wanted to have some conversation. I didn't really want this, things like that. And just being young. I dated a good amount of females and things like that, but it was just certain things that would take me left, where I'd be like, forget it. So, and we gonna get into all that. Like I said, this is just the introduction, cause I can, like, just as me talking, I can think of different things that I need to talk about. But yeah, so like I said, I would go to D when I had different issues, and I would just ask him, and he would say different things to me. Like he would say, just give me some gems, and then he'd be like, pray about it. It just talk to God about it. And at that time, I didn't really know what that meant. I was like, all right, bro. Like grew up in a Christian-based household and things like that, but I never really took it as, never really used it, until I got to a place where I needed to. So, like I said, well, I won't even say that I needed to use it my whole life, but basically I got to a place where nothing else could help me, So, that's when, like I said, so I came out with this tape, right? And my first mixtape was called The Wake Up. And so I came out with this tape, and like when I do something, I do it. I go all in. And I came out with this tape, spent this money, things like that, and I put it out. And my mom kind of had some words to say about it, because don't get me wrong, like I was talking crazy in these tapes. Like I'm talking like calling girls all type of stuff, like just disrespectful, basically pouring out my pain and everything like that. Like, and to me it was just like that was fun for me. Just I used to, like, the way I used to do music is, how much junk can I talk on this song, Like, how much junk can you talk, and how can you make it like sweet, whatever like that. Because I grew up off Detroit music, where you talk junk, you talk cash, like, So that was my whole idea. And when my mom was like, yo, like, kind of like, this is, like, my mom was blunt, like, so she would say what however she feel. And she basically, in a sense, I start feeling like, it's basically like, I don't know why you did this and things like that. And I'm like, I start feeling rejection, and I suffered from rejection from the beginning, with my dad not being in the pictures. So then that, made her voice even stronger to me. And once she was like, didn't agree with what I was doing, I wanted to, in a sense, run. So I began to develop hatred, or know that hatred was trying to consume me. So that's when I began. I talked to D, and D had told me that I should come to church, and I was like, "Oh, all right." So I remember I texted him on a Wednesday, and I was like, "Yo, I'm coming to church. Like, I need to come. Like, whatever." So I showed up, and as soon as I showed up, like, stuff began to like break from me, like different bondages and things like that just began to fall off of me, and I just began to feel the love, and like I said, once I'm into something, I'm into it. So that's good and bad, because when I was into weed, I was into weed, like heavy, like, like, so it's like, basically, I become addicted to stuff. Um, and like I said, that's good and bad, and to whatever context you're putting it into. So at that point, I became addicted to God, addicted to healing, addicted to, feeling better about myself, feeling better about people and things like that. And that's when the transformation began. And I won't tell you that it was easy, but, like, in a sense, it was. Like, I just began to surrender myself to God's will and learn more about Him. And He began to break things off of me. So, like, I just began to drop everything that I had become accustomed to, because at that time, like, God just started revealing things that I wasn't supposed to be doing. Like, sex was, I was like, oh, I can't do that. I think cussing was the last thing to go. I stopped cussing and things like that. And that was hard for me, because that was all I was used to doing. And that was more so based off the fact of, I don't want my witness or somebody to say you fake. If I'm really in this, I'm really in this, and don't want to give you a reason to write me off, but not necessarily write me off. I don't want to give you a reason to write God off. So that was the whole idea of me stop cussing and things like that, because I know people there's a hypocrite, they're a hypocrite, real quick, So I was like, I'm gonna be real, and if it's not pleasing, then I don't want to do it, So, like, that began falling off, and I began to go down this Christian journey, and I changed my music, deleted all my music and things like that, and I'm gonna talk about it. So I'm not gonna go in details, because it's gonna be mad long. But that's when I began to learn of a purpose, and God. Like, as soon as I got saved, as soon as I stated that Jesus was my Lord and Savior, that I was a sinner in need of a Savior, that's when God took full control of my life and began to direct me in the path that I should have been going. So I began speaking at juvenile centers and different things, TV, stuff like that. Like it was real quick, like thrown out there to speak on stuff that I was just learning about. Like I remember studying all night because I had to preach. I'm like freaking 21 and I'm having to, preach and things like that to like, to kids and things like that about something that I'm just now learning and things like that. So that type of stuff just excelled me, you know. So that's when I knew, I had a bigger purpose, and I had to change my circle. I had to change the people that some of the people that I associated with, because there wasn't they wasn't leading me in the right way. They wasn't helping me to get better, They're helping me to get worse in a sense. So I had to separate myself and again finding out who I truly was. And in a sense, I began going into a shell and things like that. I'm trying to think how much do I really want to jump into, because there's so much. But yeah, so like I said, that's when I began going down that path, and just learning about God and learning about myself. And then like it was a transformation for me, and a lot of people are like, what, how you used to, like, so it was, I know people were like, what the heck, how, but that's what's dope about God. Like, he's there for your heart. Like, I don't care what you have done, like, he's still there, like, and he's still willing to take over your life whenever you choose to give it to him, like, and that's the dope part. That's why I go hard for this, like, because I know it's real, and it's something that can truly change your life. So I had somebody tell me that when I did change from the genre that I was going in, I was in, I had them say that I shouldn't put religion into my music, like I shouldn't put my beliefs or push my beliefs on people. And then like at the time like I'm fresh, so I end up cussing out the person, right? And talking about but it's okay for me to talk about this and talk about that, but I can't talk about God. Like, what sense does that make? It's okay for me to talk about sex, drugs, murder, and whatever, like I don't think I was speaking on murder, but I was saying basically it's okay for people to talk about this, but it's not okay to talk about this. Like, how's that good? Like, how's that possible? Like, what sense does that make? And like I said, I said it wrong at that time, but God began to really get me right where I could better explain it to people without getting mad about it. So so that's when I began to find my way to deliver my music the way that it needs to be, and I just put my testimony in it. I just put my pain in it, the pain that I felt, and then my story. I just put it in there and brought the wittiness that I had before and the cleverness and the crazy ideas, brought that forward and just began to push myself in that direction. And like I said, now if I go into a relationship, now we on a whole different podcast, so I think that will be the next one, when I talk about the different relationships that I had while I was saved, because I had two, and they were it's just a lot. It's just a lot, and this is very good for me because I'm able to share it. I don't think I ever like truly shared my experience, and that's what God is leading me to do. But yeah, so basically I had, coming from the hood and then going to the burbs and just learning a different lifestyle, and learning myself, so it was I won't say it was easy, like I said, but it was worth it. It was worth it, and like I said, I'm still going hard. Um, and yeah, I think that was a good first podcast because I don't want to go into everything else yet because I still gotta give y'all something to come back for, you know. But like I said, it's just gonna be sharing my thoughts, um, sharing my testimony, sharing just leading to different conversations that are needed to have. So y'all can ask me questions, whatever you would like for me to talk about. Just let me know. Um, y'all can, of course, I'm posting on Instagram, but y'all can follow me on Instagram. My podcast will be on the podcast network, but Brandon Rowe, Brandon underscore Rowe underscore, and you can follow me on Facebook, Brandon Rowe, and yeah. But I think that's my first podcast, y'all. Thank y'all for listening. Like I said, like it, comment, let me know whether you like it or not. And I thank y'all for allowing me to speak and to share this story. Shout out to y'all. Y'all dope. And we out. Brandon Rowe. Hope Medicine. 001.